Welcome to Franchise Empires.
As entrepreneurs, I think, part of it is like I would guess if you were to ask most entrepreneurs on your show that are at scale, they've all had similar and are able to maintain focus. I think we all think similarly where it's like shiny object syndrome is real. That's what people talk about all the time. But I also think the people who have built something and understand that have also gone down the shiny object path before and have had similar results to what I've had. And I bet they'd all say the same thing. Like it's always tempting and it's always willing to try. But once you try it and realize it's not, maybe the upside you thought was there wasn't worth the downside risk, you reevaluate in the future.
Yep. Yeah. I think the key is like, you really just have to be so rock solid in the current endeavor before you can jump to something else that requires more of your time. Because, the hardest worker and the most efficient worker in the world, can't like run/start two businesses at once. It's just a lot of people make that mistake, it seems. And I've done similar shades of that, honestly, at times as well, where you have two full-time jobs and it's just, there's only so many hours in a day and you end up doing each one at 50% capacity, or one of them really gets a lot less love than it needs and problems arise.
Yeah, well, and it depends too. Like, I think it also, there's always a cost to things, right? So like when I had my journey down that path, it was like I was still trying to do it all myself. I was still operating my restaurants, had area managers, but I was still like, I wasn't giving them the attention they needed to develop and grow because I was so focused on this other thing. And, we've since, like, I don't operate the restaurants anymore as the day-to-day hands-on operator. Like, we filled that gap. But that came at a cost, right? It came at a real cost for me and being able to, like, have that person there. But now I'm better positioned to go and look at other opportunities, And so I think there's always a cost to it too. If you're going to start a new business too, it's like, well, if you want someone who's going to have an ownership mentality, you're going to have to cut them in on the cap table.
Yep.
Right? Like, and so it's going to come at a cost, but that doesn't mean you can't do multiple businesses at a time, but you need another partner that aligns with you. And maybe you become more of the money partner and less of the operating partner. Maybe you still retain control of the business, but at the end of the day, you need somebody who's vested and has a real interest in the outcome of that business that you really trust to do it if you want to do it. There's a right and a wrong way, I think.
Yes.
I think that's kind of where I'm at now, is evaluating, well, how do you do it the right way and make sure everything's successful, because you can't be the one to do it all. And that's been a real hard lesson to learn. I think there's been some other franchises on Twitter kind of having this conversation, and we've all gone through, our own unique journey in terms of growth in that area, but we've all gone through it to some degree. And then now I'm kind of like sitting back being like, okay, I think there is a way to do this, but you have to be willing to give up something in order to do that. And where a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, get stuck is they don't want to give up anything. They want to have the next thing, but they don't want to give up,
that's exactly it,
or whatever.
Yeah, it's when you're trying to operate both is where it falls apart. I completely agree. It's just that's really where, you got to scale yourself out of one of them if you're going to try to do multiple things at once.